In the halls where the whispers gather, conservative minds debate the future. From tax cuts to border walls, strategies clash like a political rally. Frustration brews in the chambers. As always, meet new challenges. Dissenting voices rise up, seeking unity, but finding divides. We stand strong, we stand tall. In this party, our spirit will not fall. Though the path is rocky and long, we march forward with hearts full of song.
All right, here we are for a special Rebel Republic. We are the best political talk show in all of New England, in all of New York. It doesn't matter. You're either with us or you're against us. And with me, as always, the voice of reason himself, Frank Cristiano.
How we doing?
The coach, David Schuman.
What's going on?
And some guy, I just showed up. We have a very special guest from Fox News, Fox Across America. He has a show on Fox Saturday night. The man himself, a comedian, absolutely hilarious, Mr. Jimmy Faila, who will be performing February 7th at the Rome Theater. Jimmy?
Hot damn. Good to be here. Really exciting stuff. This phenomenal buildup, but I've got a cat sleeping over my shoulder right now. I don't know if anybody noticed this.
Oh, that's okay.
Don't disturb it. Is it declawed?
That's okay.
Oh,
Frank and I are touching each other. We're right next to each other.
That's not. No, we this is a rescue. This is a rescue cat. We rescued her from a local Chinese takeout place, and Lucy.
Oh, because they eat cats. That's right. I forgot.
You're right on the ball as usual.
Yeah.
They're eating the dogs and eating the cats.
I'm a little late to the party.
It's Haiti. It's Haiti.
It's Haiti over there.
Jimmy, thank you so much for being with us and doing the show. We have tried to get you on, and we actually got it to work this time. So I did something right.
That's funny.
I can tell my father that. My father is going to be thrilled.
Do you want to know something? I'm doing this from my home studio, which is a little more agreeable. At Fox, they have so many different firewalls and things that might not have been your fault for all I know. Because they're always, making sure there's not, some Yemeni hacker or something like that trying to crack the Fox infrastructure.
I call bullshit, Jimmy. It's his fault, without a doubt.
Everything's my fault, Jimmy. Go ahead.
To the interview, I thought I should be a little diplomatic, but take it away.
No, we have no rules. There's no restrictions on the show. You can say and do whatever you want because all three watchers that we have. Actually, to be honest with you, we're working off of Coach Schuman's network, his YouTube channel, reaching 2 million people that are subscribed, which is a great platform for us to be able to do this. We do a weekly broadcast and just put out conservative political issues and the feeling of the times and social issues as well that revolve around either the Republican Party or conservative viewership. So it's been a great run for us. And Jimmy, I just want to introduce, Jimmy was at I had a comedy club. I know I messaged you this earlier in the day, but remember I had a comedy club in the back of a pizzeria, which is fantastic.
Nobody likes to show off, pal.
Nobody. We tried to keep everything in the back. So, and I was so lucky to have Jimmy. I think it was 5 times at my place until obviously he grew too big and they stole him away from me. That's okay. Fox has got to make money as well. So, but he's been nothing but a gentleman. His family, his wife, his son Lincoln. They've been outstanding people. They came to our show. They stayed with us. We had dinner. We walked around. So it's just when I tell you that Jimmy is the most down to earth, honest guy that you'll ever meet, whether it be at a comedy show or at a political talking event or some kind of an online event like this right here, right now, you're only going to get the absolute honest truth from him. And that's very appreciated on your end, top to bottom, since I've met you. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So Jimmy, I wanted to ask you because you're honest and truthful, and Frank mentioned that and everything. So, you were a taxi driver and you had a success a little bit later in life. I'm 40 years old, in my 40s. I live with my parents. Do I have a chance?
Is
there a chance for me?
Yeah, of course there is, man. Don't forget, I got my TV show. Well, if I'm 48 years old right now, it's only 2 years old. So I was 46?
Oh, all right.
Got my radio show 6 years ago, so I was 42. So, I mean, if you're going to the Jimmy Faila school of how to do things, like, you're right in line. I'm going to be upfront. I was moved out by then. I was definitely moved out by.
Yeah, well, most people are. Yeah.
No, but I was one of those guys who moved out of his parents' house when he was really young, like 27. So I was a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah,
well,
man. I mean, the thing about it is, too, just so you understand, we all define success the wrong way. I know a lot. Like, I always tell my son this. I'm like, what you're really in life is like the happiness business, not to get too schmaltzy. If you died tomorrow, you're going to wish you had more fun today. I know a lot of broke cab drivers from my cab driving days that are like the happiest people you'll ever meet. And I know a lot of people in television who are going to shoot themselves. And they're technically speaking successful beyond all believable bounds. They host multiple shows. They've written multiple New York Times bestsellers. And if somebody told me they offed themselves tomorrow, I'd be like, well, of course they did. That makes perfect sense. So don't confine yourself to that minimalist definition of success we have in this country would be my best advice. And that's
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So if we do this again in 5 years and you're still living at home, you might technically be successful. According to me. I don't know if everybody else listening will feel that way, but I will.
And Jimmy, Steve right next to me is actually a registered Democrat. So,
Sure.
I mean,
they may be in high school.
Well, no, the good thing is your party allows you to be whatever you want to be.
Oh,
you
yeah, I'm running for Congress too.
Yes.
Yeah, and on my way here, my dad dropped me off, and I spilled coffee in his car. So that just gives you an idea of what a train wreck I am. But we wanted to start Minnesota. There's just so much going on there. I mean, to me, it seems like a different country. There's ICE, there's shootings, there's protesters. And what is your opinion of the situation that is going on there? And can we at least control it?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like what's actually happening, the first thing everyone should know is how avoidable it is. If you were to look around the country at how many people ICE has deported, the only place they've had an incident is Minnesota. What makes Minnesota different from the rest of the country? Obviously, local leadership is not cooperating with federal law enforcement because it's a sanctuary city, a sanctuary state. So essentially, ICE is being forced to apprehend violent criminals in the presence of protesters and people that might get in their face and things you have the right to do. But in theory, law enforcement usually takes place with a perimeter, meaning they don't want you getting close enough to have a misunderstanding where somebody gets shot, or they don't want you getting close enough to be in a vehicle that can block traffic or potentially step on the gas with an ICE agent standing there. And again, if local leadership at the very most basic level is just cooperating with federal deportations, I mean, it is the law and it was the number one issue in the election. This stuff could be happening in a far more safer fashion. It isn't because they don't want it to. And I'll oversimplify this for everybody. The Democrats like to cause chaos when Trump is in office and then offer themselves up as the solution to the chaos. They're essentially saying, you got to vote for us because you never see this stuff when we're in office. So they're essentially arsonists who want you to pay them to put out their own fire. And that's what they're doing. And at a national level, the Democrat Party wants mass migration. At a local level, just so we're all on the same page, they're going to prosecute people for fraud in Minneapolis soon. Probably in the next 2 months, you'll see, maybe Frey, maybe Ellison. And they want those prosecutions to look retaliatory. So they're going to keep getting physical with ICE. So it looks like we only handed down fraud indictments because they didn't agree with ICE. This is America. You can't even protest now without them charging you. But they're not charging you for protest. They're charging you for fraud that a lot of people overlooked. And again, those are their state auditors that suggested that. That's not a Trump thing. Okay, the state auditors testified on Capitol Hill that, there was fraud and there's no way the government didn't know about it.
Right. Do you think now with today's information that we find that Waltz and Trump actually had a phone call and Waltz seems agreeable now to Tom Homan is actually going to go to Minnesota. Do you think that's going to somehow backfire, or they're going to set the booby trap for Holman or whoever to come in to keep this going? Obviously, I understand when there's $9 to $12 billion that have disappeared in the state without any consequences. I'm sure that's what they want to protect themselves from and hide from. But what are your feelings on the Waltz Trump kind of kumbaya for a day?
Well, here's the thing. Trump, has like a storied history of working with people who bash him. I mean, look at the Mamdani meeting at the White House. When you're a businessman and you're from the private sector, you actually just need to get things done. That's how you look at it. He knows this is a bad situation in Minneapolis. He wants to get it fixed. He doesn't want to cede control of federal immigration law to whoever can organize the most, rowdy protest. He just wants to have the right guy there for the job. Tom Homan going there means he doesn't trust Kristi Noem, because Homan's the adult in the room. Kristi Noem is the one that's come out in both of these instances and say someone was a domestic terrorist there to commit mass murder, which whips up a good frenzy on Twitter of right-wing likes and clicks. But it was Tom Homan in both instances that said, whoa, we don't really know that. Let's, wait till all the facts come in. You see, this magic trick to Homan is he obviously, as everybody knows, served under Obama and got multiple awards for serving under Obama. I was reading on my radio show today a 2016 puff piece about Tom Homan from the Washington Post, of all places, saying, meet the man enacting Barack Obama's immigration policies. He was a hero because they all agree. Okay, and this is the big problem. Obama agrees with what Trump's doing. Biden does. Hillary does. Bill Clinton does, because they've all run on these policies. But it's not about the people. It's about this has become a lane for them. Like I played a clip today of Hillary Clinton saying, if you're a small child in this country illegally, you have to go. Because if we allow you to stay, it sends the message to other people to try coming here, which is a very dangerous thing nobody should be doing. Now, if she were to say that in the modern Democratic Party, like right now, they would want to prosecute her. Yeah. Rachel Maddow would be having a cry-in on live TV, but we'll leave that guy alone for now. The point is, they're just really transactional, and it's all a scam. And I think Trump is going to stay the course, even if this is unpopular in real time, because the net benefit is a good one. Look at the murder rate. It hit its lowest number since 1900 this year. Right. We are safer. And one of the reasons we're safer is we're getting rid of violent criminals and we're securing the border. And we shouldn't give up our collective national safety because a bunch of angry white lesbians got paid to show up on Signal and spit in the face of ICE agents. So I'm with Trump.
Exactly. So then why are all these old clips of Democratic politicians who keep bringing up the same ideas that this administration is bringing up right now? Why are they not valid now when you go back and people say, look at this, they said this, and everyone's ignoring it?
Well, they are to people having a real conversation, but to a lot of people on the left, the goal is not safety. The goal is not immigration. The goal is not a conversational integrity. They just want to beat you. They think they're better than you. They know better than you. You're not qualified. In charge. Who do you think is at these protests?
I'm a Democrat. There you go.
Hey, are minorities on your TV in Minneapolis? No, it's all white people.
All the white people.
Yes, white people that minorities don't like. It's called performative allyship. They show up and protest on behalf of minority groups that didn't ask them to, thinking it will curry them favor with that community and make them look more appealing because they're standing up for minorities. But they don't actually care about them. I mean, do you think the Democratic Party thinks Black Americans are equal when they're telling you things like we can't have voter ID laws because Black people aren't capable of getting an ID?
They don't know where the DMV is.
Yeah, they don't know where to. Yeah, right.
Imagine the things you can't do if you don't have a license, drive a car, check into a hotel, open a bank account, board a plane, go to the doctor, get a vaccine, own a house, rent a house, apply for a job. In the Democratic worldview, that would mean the vast majority of Black America is just like living under a bridge. And if they are in a house, they're squatting in it because they wouldn't have the ability to rent one. I mean, there's no workaround to not having that ID.
Right.
And that's the point. They keep infantilizing minority groups and protesting on behalf of them. But the truth is Trump is up 24 points with Latinos. Why? Because they came here legally. And they don't think it's cool that people come here illegally and break the law. And they fled countries where immigration laws weren't enforced or laws weren't enforced. And they don't want to feel like they went back to one. So what's the problem in America right now? Woke white people. Either performative allies or just losers that are getting paid to protest. And it's specific to Minneapolis, though. Trump has deported, I mean this, probably close to 1 million people around the country right now through ICE operations. And they've done this in 900 different counties, and they've only had violent reactions to this in one county twice.
Yeah. Well, they've had a lot of practice with the George Floyd and anything else they want to bring up. Minnesota must be like the training ground for the far left loonies.
Coach Schuman, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the number one issue is exactly what Jimmy said. Their interference into every part of this process, meaning, you brought up a great point. When there's a criminal investigation going on, there's usually a wall or basically around where they're going and doing their actions. And what's happening is the protesters are infiltrating that, and they don't have backup outside of ICE because local law enforcement is
they're staying out of it. Yeah.
Right. So, right. Which usually you have federal and local working together in let's say if there was an FBI investigation, and you would have some level of working together. Now they're infiltrated into the actual investigation. And because of the issues with them being sanctuary cities and not helping in the process, you're in a situation where you're going in some cases door to door, right? And when you're going door to door and into neighborhoods, that's what the Democrats are looking to say. Oh, hey, look, they're in our neighborhoods. Oh, look, this is what's going on. Meanwhile, there would have been easier processes to do it, and they didn't want to be involved in that. The only issue is that my snow got done a little bit slower probably today because maybe a couple of people that were not normally would have been involved.
Well, you have a great governor too in Jersey.
In our snow removal process, probably maybe got picked up a few days ago. But outside of that, I really think that's really what's going on. And then listen, and I'm curious what Jimmy's thoughts are. Like, it's the first case and the second case are different cases in their own ways, but both are obviously interference, right?
And coordinated, like you said.
The second one was as he's getting involved with the women and they're macing them, and he's continuing to step in. It's like this false bravado. That's the only way I could say it. It's a false bravado. You're sticking up for people where there's nothing going to happen if you just step back. You know what I mean? And so it's just, I'm curious your thoughts, Jimmy, on that part.
That's the point for everybody listening. It's like they tell you this in taxi school. When I got my taxi license, they're like, because a lot of people taking that test aren't from America. They're from countries where they really don't trust the police and the government. And it's really funny because when you don't realize how much you're underachieving as a white guy driving a taxi till they address the room with "here in America." And you're like, wow. So everyone in this room is not from here in America anyway. So here in America, and they tell you this, you're going to get pulled over by a cop a lot as a cab driver. Your odds of dying are 0, but your odds change depending on your behavior. You shove the cop, you go for his gun, you flee the scene. Everything you do contributes. And that's the sad reality of Minneapolis, is like they're creating these situations where the people are close enough to contribute. So the girl who spent 6 hours obstructing ICE agents, and then they finally got fed up enough to say, get out of the car, stepped on the gas when a guy happened to be in front of her. Doesn't mean she wanted to kill him, but it does mean he has the right to shoot her. Obviously, that's its own thing. But as we said, they've changed their odds of survival. When those cops are walking up to the side door of her car saying, get out, her odds of survival are 100%. But the minute she puts that car in gear and her girlfriend yells, drive, baby, drive, and there just happens to be a cop there, the odds change a little. Okay, same with this guy, as you said. So we have to acknowledge that everyone's kind of playing a role here. If you have kids, would you tell your kids to evade a potential law enforcement confrontation? No. If you had kids, would you tell them to take a firearm to a protest and get into a fight with the cops? No. You tell them to avoid that. And I think if we took that basic responsibility to this, these would be easier conversations. But again, back to my earlier point, no one's trying to solve this. They're trying to gin up enough hysteria that the average American goes, oh, enough already. We got to stop with the ICE stuff. And then criminals get to stay in the country. And they keep hitting me with this number. There's the second person that died of ICE. And they did. And we can all agree that that's too many. Okay, but if you look at the amount of people killed by the folks ICE is trying to deport, there's no comparison here. You're talking about thousands of people killed by illegal immigrants in this country versus 2 people that were killed by ICE agents while trying to stick up for those illegal immigrants. That's the point. So it's so transactionally stupid. And the fact that everybody's just hoping to come out of this politically victorious is why it won't get better. We'll just have more of it. I said that after Renee Good. I was like, the fact that everybody needs to prove that this cop is a murderer or this cop is completely exonerated, one or the other, means there's no in-between progress to be made. So Minneapolis will see more of this if they don't straighten it out.
Yeah, and both of these were coordinated efforts. They said that Preddy was part of a domestic terrorist organization, according to his encrypted chats. I mean, this guy's talking on Signal, which is one of those chats that erases everything immediately and doesn't allow you to get to them if you download the cell phone information. So he was doing that. And the other woman, like, I never thought if a cop gives you an order, or even an ICE agent gives you an order, I didn't know it was optional to follow. I thought if they tell you to do something, you're supposed to do it. I didn't know you had the option to say no or resist. That's what blew me away.
The biggest thing is the people have to understand, just because a cop says something that you don't like doesn't mean that you take action on it. Like, cops are going to say things that you may not agree with or you may not like. If you're protesting this situation and a cop tells you to pull over, or you need to comply whether you like him or don't like him. That's the biggest thing that is crazy, that's lost in the whole thing. You got to comply with what's going on in the situation when they ask you to comply, because then things get escalated. When things get escalated, human behavior becomes part of the process. Okay.
It's emotional.
They're trained that if this, or this happens, you have to be able to protect yourself. Okay. As a police officer, as an ICE agent. And that's when you start to get in these situations where, right along with their training, they are in a continued threatening position.
Constantly.
And it's constantly. Now, they're not also in, they're obviously armored up and stuff like that, but they're not in a riot gear situation where they're in formation or any of those other things. There's a level of guerrilla battling going on in apprehending some of these people, meaning they're going from place to place, chasing people down, and it puts them in a vulnerable position among protesters because they don't know who is who everywhere. There are people everywhere, and they don't know who is who, right? If people are filming and yelling, you don't know who's on your side, who's not on your side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of the overall craziness. I think that's one of the things that hopefully Holman can start to home in on as far as what we need to nail as far as the communication of, hey, what we have to get across. But the Democrats and the blue-haired women that are running around out there, it's crazy.
But Dave, whether you're in business or in sports or in any other field, you're only as good as your leaders. And you've got a mayor and a governor that are saying, wow, this is terrible and tragic to death. But guys, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Jimmy.
And they're not sending any. So if they cared about their constituents, they would be allowing their officers to provide protection zones for ICE and a buffer. The National Guard would have already been called out because, they're beyond riots at this point. There's physical violence and death on the streets. You're only as good as your leaders. Bottom line, those are the two guys that are most responsible right off the bat.
No doubt.
And if there are any judicial matters or legalities to be taken against someone, it's got to be against those two.
Yeah, Jimmy, I was going to say the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, I think he's a cuck, to be honest with you. He is encouraging these people to continue doing what they're doing, and then he's telling law enforcement, just let them go, stand down. And that's why there's been more violence. And then I also wanted to get your thoughts on the 5-year-old kid they tried to bring home, and the father leaves. The mother doesn't take him in. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, the truth is half the country actually thinks they just arrested a 5-year-old because nobody reads the retractions.
Yes.
So it's like they were playing duck, duck, goose, and this kid got arrested in the middle of the game. And then they like kicked another 5-year-old in the stomach. It's like the Democrats are really good at weaponizing people's emotions.
They're communists. I call them communists.
Yeah, well, posts like that are really effective because again, they're catering to a lot of people who run on a moral superiority, that they're better than you. They know better than you. That's why the race card became such a thing. It used to be shameful in the 80s, 90s, and aughts to say something was racist. They would actually say like, oh, they're playing the race card. Gross, And to Obama's credit, he did not run for president on the race card. It wasn't until he got into office that the era of identity politics came to be, because whenever the Democrats were trying to sell a political policy and the Republicans weren't on board with it, they would go, gee, I wonder what's so different about this president that the Republicans don't want to cooperate. I'm just looking at the pictures, trying to figure out what it is about this guy that makes them not want to send $50 billion to Iran, even though they're trying to blow us up. Or why don't these people want to blow up your healthcare premiums by 300%? What is it about this guy? And most people would go, oh yeah, the black guy. And that's how identity politics started. And they started to see everything through that reductive lens. And that's what's going on with immigration. They just look at it like, well, these people have different skin color, so we must hate them for that. It's the same thing they're trying to do with Somali fraud. But the truth is, and I think this is why they're pushing so hard, this really matters. Fraud is like the one issue where if it could be established as true, you'd actually have bipartisan interest in fraud because everyone's getting ripped off. You're never going to have bipartisan interest in immigration, even though, again, they voted for Obama and voted for Hillary and everybody else who is on board with deportations. They have the ability to pretend like yesterday just didn't happen because acknowledging it weakens their hand when it comes to beating you today. And that's what the Democrat Party is now. They're little kids who they don't want to share the toy. They want to control it so badly. When you tell the kid to share the toy and he just keeps tugging on it till the toy breaks in half. And that's essentially all we're doing right now. That's all this is.
That's them. You're correct. So let me, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
No. I have a theory too, because I hear it every time something like this happens. Even, my own wife will mention it to me. My theory is that the Democrats enjoy providing a wedge between men and women. Okay. And in particular, it's a lot more happening more in Caucasian homes where that's an issue, right? Where they tug on, like you said, the emotional heartstrings. They see the initial news. The man is saying, hey, you don't get involved when a law enforcement activity is going on. The women are like, oh my God, what? Someone died, right? That's the first thing every single time that happens. And if you go even into conservative homes, which mine is, right, you and a conservative family, you still even have that question that gets asked. And that's the question that they want to get asked in every single home in America. And that's the problem, which is why the Democrat Party and their, not just their fraud, but the fact that they take a narrative and turn it into something that it's not, that makes it so dangerous because they want to infect your home. I'm curious your thoughts, Jimmy, on that.
Well, I mean, they're definitely dividing men and women just by telling men that they're women. I
never thought of it that way. Yeah. I like it. I like that. I got to write that down. Hold on. Let me write that down.
It's definitely a challenge, but that is true. That is how a lot of this stuff works. People have an emotional reaction to a woman got shot or a guy got killed, and the guy is trying to take the necessary evil approach to this. The woman is saying enough's enough. And what people don't realize is in the long run, like the ICE deportations make the country safer. And so all you're really doing, it's like defund the police. You're creating more sympathy for the criminal than their victim when you do this. So it's hard for people to imagine that a guy getting shot last week because he's obstructing ICE agents is actually going to lead to a safer society, because it's obviously not safer for him or anybody who was there. But in the long run, if those criminals get deported and you enforce the law, we are all safer. So there's like a lot of nuance to this, but again, when the goal is to win politically, and that's the only real goal to one of these debates, there's no, it's everyone loses. If that is the only goal, if the only goal is to manipulate sentiment so your side wins, you wind up in a situation where we all lose, because the shared priority should be getting violent criminals out of our communities. Think about it. People used to run for office on a chicken in every pot, and now they're running on a Venezuelan gangbanger in every community. The compass is broken, boys. We should agree with that. Move on with our lives.
True. Hey, Jimmy, let me ask you right now. Let's go back to comedy for a second. Not like there hasn't been comedy in the last 29 minutes, but the show at the Capitol Theater in Rome, New York is coming up for you. What do you got on tap for people here? I mean, we've seen you a bunch of times. We've seen you at the Stanley in Utica. You had the show at Rome. You're coming back to Rome again. What do you got for us?
Well, obviously, people need to blow off steam. So we're bringing out a baby seal. We're going to club it to death. Everybody gets a swing of the baton just to keep the mood light. You know what I mean? There's a lot of aggression. Some people drive a long way to these shows. And I know people listening to me go, wow, that's horrific. How dare you? But it's because you haven't met this seal. Like, once you get to know the seal, a lot of people have the initial reaction, you might expect. You wheel the seal out in a little tank and go, we're going to club this thing. And people get upset. But by the time it's over, there's usually a line to get their hands on the baton. You realize this seal had it coming.
Is it an illegal seal, or is it a citizen?
There's a thing like that. We don't have confirmation one way or the other, but we do know, this seal it's too much. I mean, you got to be there to get it, but it's high comedy, obviously. And then, we're going to do a thing. We're going to tell some dirty jokes that we can't tell on TV, because that's what we do. We have a couple of great comics opening the show. Kristen Carney, who's from up there. Her dad's a big Fox fan.
Yep.
And, above all else, I'm basically going to establish that I have a safe house to stay in if my bets on the Super Bowl don't win the next day. I mean, you guys are coming out for a night of comedy and laughs. I'm coming out for self-preservation. And seal. I've had it with the seal.
And the seal's done. I think that we can cook it up afterwards. I do have a restaurant. So listen, I know you're short on time, and I appreciate coming out. I've got one thing I'd like to finish with, if it's possible.
Let's go.
So we're going to do Rebel Republic Rapid Fire with Jimmy Faila. Jimmy, I'm going to throw 5 questions at you, and you can give me a 1-word answer to move on to the next one, or if you want to indulge in a little more of a response, you can.
I want to ask one too when you're done.
All right. What do you want to ask?
I want to ask him about Mamdani, because Mamdani's my hero. So I just wanted to get your thoughts.
I mean, I voted for him, and I'm kidding. Stop it. All right, moving on. What do you need?
No. He's my hero.
Good. All right. All right. Let's go back to the more important stuff, Jimmy. Here are the 5 rapid fire questions I'm going to throw right at you. Ready? All right. Here we go. Who are more dangerous, liberal politicians or nose ring people?
I mean, they're kind of the same, are they not? I mean, I say this all the time. We don't need gun control. We need nose ring control.
There's
a 3-day waiting period to get a nose ring, just so they can make sure you're not going to get one, dye your hair purple, and buy a Subaru. Because it's a slippery slope. It starts with a nose ring, and then everything goes downhill from there.
Background check. Okay, here's the second question, Jimmy. Who tried or tasted blended oatmeal first? Was it Mitch McConnell or Nancy Pelosi?
Ooh, I actually think it was Mitch McConnell, but Nancy Pelosi had a stock tip that it was coming. And so she made money off of it.
Millions off of blended oatmeal. That's fantastic. What's a better vacation place right now, Seattle or Minneapolis?
Depends what you're into. Obviously, Minneapolis is the colder. So if you like the warmth, I say Seattle. And it depends if you're a partier, because a lot of people, I've been to Seattle, a lot of people don't know this, but the Space Needle is filled with heroin. So if that's your jam, Seattle's the place to be.
Yeah, Steve's ears just perked up.
I got a head there.
Okay. Tying into what Steve had asked before, who's a better mayor? Would you rate Marion Barry or Zohan Mamdani?
Ooh, well, Marion Barry got elected multiple times. So right now, you'd have to consider him better because his policies were appealing enough to make a comeback. The Mamdani thing is pretty funny to me, man. He obviously can't implement 99% of what he ran on because the governor has to, raise taxes and stuff like that. But he's having a good time. And I've enjoyed watching this. Did you see him with Miss Rachel singing the Wheels on the Bus the other day?
I did. That's why he's my hero.
Yeah, and then they had to stop the bus. All the kids got off when they realized it wasn't a free bus ride like Mamdani promised.
God. Over under on that 2 years. In 2 years, the city will be on fire. Last question, Jimmy, and we'll let you go. So if you were held at gunpoint and you're forced to pick someone to sleep with, you have to pick one of these two. Ilhan Omar or Lindsey Graham. Who do you choose?
Well, I know who would enjoy it more is Lindsey Graham. But you got to go Ilhan Omar.
Yeah. I love it. It's fantastic.
That's a fun time. That's a kinky broad. Don't forget she married her brother. You know,
you got to be really into it. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's very few things she's going to tell you she doesn't do in the bedroom if she married her brother. Whereas, Lindsay is, it's just an outtake from Oz. I get it. It's all fun.
That's right. The closet came open. Thank you. So listen, I'm obviously not the host. Steve next to me is, but I appreciate everything you've done, Jimmy, to come on the show. I'll be there in Rome to shake your hand and say hello again. I'll bring you a tomato pie or some bourbon, whatever your choice is. I know we like the bourbon, and I'll get down to one of your shows in New York City. I'll be there in the audience booing you.
Yeah, spirit. Come down anytime, man. All the tickets are free. They're at foxacrossamerica.com. If anybody listening is in the tri-state area and they want to go to a Fox taping, it is actually free. They just run like a background on you to make sure you're not like a known Antifa protester. For real.
Good color my hair.
Can you drive me so I can go?
Absolutely not. Okay, so hey, listen, Jim, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Rome Capitol Theater. You got the closing, or you do?
No, Jimmy. We're going to put a link on the website to the Rome Capitol Theater so people can order tickets for February 7th. You obviously do Fox Across America and Fox News Saturday night. You're a phenomenal radio host. I got your book the last time when you were at the Stanley. Absolutely loved it, enjoyed it. And I think you're great because you say they're just jokes. They're just jokes because people have to lighten up and people have to have a good time. Amen. And we appreciate everything that you do. And I'm glad because you just gave my father hope. I can move out of the house. I can be successful. So
this time next year, I could see you moving out of the house and living in your car 100%.
Yes. 100%. Except he doesn't have a car right now.
Under a tree.
Although he's a big WWE fan. Hey, listen, if you could, Jimmy, if you could hook us up with Tyrus.
Okay.
He would be ecstatic. He'd be over the moon. Maybe that would give him the inspiration to move out.
I don't know if he could handle all this excitement, but I'll ask around. You kids, this was great, man.
Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on, and we appreciate it. And we'll be there to see you February 7th, and I'll put the link on so people can order tickets. And I just want to say again, remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.
What a saying.
And I'm Steve Cully, and I'm running for Congress.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks.